A victory Friday, New York Jet fans. Aaron bleeping Rodgers. Can we go on a run after this? Plus, some more thoughts on Jets Texans. Let's roll.
I'm gonna lose my gosh darn bananas. Boy Green Daily starts now. Zoinks!
I made it clear that my intention was to play, and my intention was to play for the New York Jets.
You're fucking wrong!
What is going on, everybody? I am Paul Esden Jr., a.k.a. Boy Green. I am feeling good, and I am the New York Jets digital reporter for Every.com. Welcome to Boy Green Daily, a daily New York Jets video show, also available wherever you get your friggin' podcast, baby. The Jets are back, and it feels so damn good. You know, the Jets are 2-0 in Thursday night football games. All the other games are 1-6. And I remember when I was there, at MetLife Stadium for the last Jets win part of last night. And I said this when Aaron Rodgers was introduced. That's Aaron Rodgers! Aaron Rodgers! Aaron Rodgers! Let's go! The place is electric! That's Aaron Rodgers!
Let's fucking go!
That's Aaron Rodgers! Rodgers! Oh, the vibes last night, the Davante Adams touchdown, the Garrett Wilson touchdown, the other Garrett Wilson touchdown. Oh, my good golly. The vibes are incredibly high. Good Lord have mercy. And before we get to all that, let me open it up from our perspective of this. We had a surge of memberships last night, technically speaking, at 1:30 in the morning of Boy Green Coffee Club memberships. If you guys would like to join the Boy Green Coffee Club, it is in the YouTube description down below. Of course, it's also the pinned comment live right now on youtube.com/boygreen25. If you're watching this after the fact, it's always available in the YouTube description. We're 42 members away from Phil getting his emoji. And I have to tell you this, folks. This version of Aaron Rodgers, the Jets can do some damage. The Jets can do some things. Now, let's all be painfully and brutally honest. The New York Jets had an issue with Aaron Rodgers in the first half. I mean, he was god-awful. We have a full article in the YouTube description down below talking about this very topic of conversation. Aaron, after the game, said, I was terrible. I played about as bad as I could in the first half, and I knew it had to get better from there. Aaron Rodgers was 7 of 14 for 32 passing yards. According to the 33rd team, those 32 passing yards were tied for a career low in any half where Rodgers had at least 10 passing attempts. He was awful. Aaron Rodgers missed a wide-open Davante Adams who hit him with that two-piece combo. Hit him with it like a little stutter and go. Boom. And then go. Aaron Rodgers out of bounds. You're like, whoa, Rodgers. Now, in fairness, at the end of the first half, Aaron Rodgers placed a beautiful rainbow bucket right into the hands of Davante Adams, and I'm like, Davante, what in God's creator? If this is happening to Davante Adams, then what the hell? What we doing? That's what I thought. But after a miss from Aaron Rodgers, and then a miss from Davante, the two were on the same page, baby, for Davante Adams' first touchdown as a member of the New York Jets. And it was a beaut, Clark. It was a beaut. It was beautiful. It was a rainbow pass. Davante Adams created the separation and then just walked it into the end zone. And it felt good for once, to be honest. It felt good for once for the New York Jets to put their foot on the throat of another team. Instead of, let's just say, that's an incomplete pass. The Jets sort of chewed a little bit of, time off the clock and then punted it back to Houston, who could have had a chance to just win the game outright. We've seen that story before. Cough, cough. New England last week. This version of Aaron Rodgers, pretty good. And if you get that second half version of Aaron Rodgers, which, by the way, first half, 7 of 14, 50% completion percentage, 32 passing yards. Disgusting. Second half, 15 of 18, 179 passing yards, and 3 tutties. And he didn't have a friggin' turnover in this game. a near 70% completion percentage. Okay, Aaron Rodgers, that's what Jet fans signed up for. That's why I was screaming Aaron bleeping Rodgers at the top of my lungs from the top of MetLife Stadium, because we believed. We believed. By the way, our number one Austrian Jet fan getting involved on the action. You love to see it, baby, with the 5-piece of Boy Green Coffee Club memberships. Oh, yeah, baby. You love to friggin' see it. We are now 37 members away from Phil getting his emoji, which, by the way, it's already been made. Snowball already showed it to me, and it's ready to go as soon as we reach the proper amount of memberships, which is terrific. Okay, here are the 5 new members to Boy Green Coffee Club. Sharp Instincts, Matt P., Wrong Verb, Stephen James, and KJ. You are all now members of the Boy Green Coffee Club, baby. And Jared B. just dropped the Discord link in the YouTube description, or YouTube comment section, excuse me. And if you guys are a Boy Green Coffee Club member, a card-carrying member, you get access to the Discord, baby. Our number one Austrian Jets fan. Booyah! Love it. Let's spread the good vibes, man. We are feeling good. Oh, yeah. Here we go. Let's go to Danny, our resident Buffalo Bills guy. Y'all are 3-6. You're saying you're back? Sheesh. I'm so sad for Jet fans. As a Bills fan, thank you for beating a team in the Bills way. Oh, well, no, you're welcome. But a couple of things here. It's okay, right? It all looked lost. Earlier this week, I'll be honest, I was feeling down in the dumps after losing to New England, the 5th loss in a row. There were some dark times. Jeff Ulbrich said it was a moment of darkness. It felt like a season of darkness for the most part. But yesterday, I got back to it after some painful days. I was like, you know what? The Jets are going to win this game against the Texans. I feel it in my plums. And they did. Now, 2-7, season's over. 3-6, whoa. Wait a second here. Think about a couple of things. Right now, the Jets are in second place in the AFC East. Thank you very much. And the Jets are the 10th seed in the AFC. Now, I am fully aware there are only 7 seeds that make it in the AFC playoffs, but it just goes to show you that, whoa, okay, 10, not bad. Of course, all these other teams had to play some games this weekend. There's a couple of byes, but all these teams got to play some games this weekend. It's all up to the Jets. When I say they're back in the conversation. They're not the number 1 seed in the AFC, of course, or anything crazy like that, but they're back. There's a belief, and a belief is an interesting thing. Now, the definition of faith, because Syracuse people, Danny, you live around here, you know what I mean. Faith, we had an old head coach here at Syracuse named Dino Babers, and he always preached the word faith. And the definition of faith in Dino Babers' eyes is belief without evidence. That's faith. Just believing something's going to happen, even though there's not necessarily any prerequisite information. Like for me, I have faith in the Jets every year. Why? There's clearly no obvious information why I should. But I just do. I just believe. I don't know. I'm a glass half full guy, I suppose. I'm not sure. What happened last night is not faith. It's not belief without evidence. It's belief with evidence. That second half for the New York Jets, where their drives were touchdown. I saw the light of like, oh, okay, this is what the offense is supposed to look like. And now the team saw what it was supposed to look like. And sometimes it's a funny thing what evidence can do when you see it live. Oh my gosh. Oh, that's it. Ooh. There it is. That's it. Now the Jets have saw it. They've seen the Aaron Rodgers of old, of the 3 touchdowns. First half, he was god-awful. Second half, vintage Aaron Rodgers. He was dealing. He was diming. And players were making plays. That's the key. That's the key, baby. That's the key. Big-time players make big-time plays. Davante Adams, hello. First touchdown as a Jet. Garrett Wilson, oh, welcome to superstardom, buddy. Touchdown. Okay, we see you, young man. Breece Hall had a wonderful game on the ground. That's what I'm talking about. That's what, when I say we're back, that's what I'm talking about. Now, of course, can the Jets stack it? Phil says, was it Kirk Cousins that said, you like that? He did. That was Kirk Cousins. Still a member of Washington. When I say back, that's what I'm talking about, baby. That is what I'm bleeping talking about. But yes, some wild emotions in that game last night. Cayenne Rodgers has arrived. There was all kinds of chants happening last night from sell the team. There was a couple of sell the team chants. There was a cayenne pepper chant at one point. That was kind of funny. Jet chants, Rodgers chants, Garrett Wilson chants. Hey, I'll give it to MetLife Stadium. They're certainly lively. That's for sure. Arsenal Jets 9-8 and missing the playoffs. Seen this movie? Yeah, I believe if they go 9-8, I believe they will miss the playoffs. They would need, and I said this last night / earlier this morning, if the Jets finish 9-8, and they want to make the playoffs at 9-8, they're going to need 2009 level stuff to happen. And if you guys remember the final couple weeks of the 2009 season, you'll remember that the Jets had a list on a week-to-week basis of we need these 6 teams to win and these 7 teams to lose. It was a lot of voodoo doll action. Unlikely, you could say. And all the right things happened when the Jets made the playoffs, and then once you get a ticket to the dance, you make a run. So, to me, 9-8 is really trippy, and I would venture to guess you will not make the playoffs if you're 9-8, if I'm being frank. You have too many key head-to-head losses. Pittsburgh, Denver. Both of those teams are ahead of you right now, and the number one tiebreaker in the playoffs is head-to-head. That's number one. If you've played your opponent, which the Jets did for Pittsburgh and they did for Denver. If the Jets finish with the same record as Denver or Pittsburgh, Jets are out. Jets are out. There's 3 wildcard spots, so we'll see what happens, but that put them in a tough spot. New member to the Boy Green Coffee Club, baby. Jeremy, welcome to the freaking show, baby. See, there are a lot of different ways to become a member of the Boy Green Coffee Club. It's an elite, exclusive club. There's no question about it. That's exactly what it is. Jeremy just showed you one way. You can punch in your own ticket by joining the Boy Green Coffee Club, by punching in your own ticket right here, right now, whether you're watching live or after the fact. It's just that easy, baby. Join the Boy Green Coffee Club. Ba-ding! It's only $2.99 a month. Or you can feel froggy and gift memberships to your fellow patrons as you're watching. That's the money sign if you're watching on YouTube, and you can gift as many as you'd like. Last night, for the post-game show, we had Board Fat drop a 20-piece. We had Connor Long of NY Fly Jets Talk drop another 5-piece. We had our boy dropping a 10-piece last night. I mean, we were getting it from everywhere. It was terrific. I mean, it was raining from the high heavens. And it felt good. So thank you very much. Appreciate you. We'll be opening up the phone lines here in just a few minutes. Brandon Ace, Arizona's no joke. They are absolutely no joke. Obviously, we'll get into Arizona. Arizona, to me, from what I've seen from them this season, is a very Jekyll and Hyde team. When they're good, they are good. They're real good. Very good. Kyler Murray runs all over the place. That scares the bleep out of me, if I'm being honest, with how the Jets were so, whatever the word was, lackadaisical, perhaps, with their pass rush lanes. They were very loosey-goosey, and C.J. Stroud's like, thank you, and he was taking rushing lanes all over the place. The Jets did against New England with Drake May and Jacoby Brissett. The defensive line, they had 8 sacks, and Michael Clemens went off, and Quinton Williams had a great game, and all these cats were going crazy from sacks, and that's cool. But for winning the football game, you have to have pass rush integrity, and that's going to be super important. Más importante is your Spanish lesson of the day. Más importante to do that against Arizona, because if you look at Kyler Murray's stats this year, he's had a couple of 50-yard touchdown runs. Like, if you leave it open, see ya. And he's got speed. He's a little guy. He's got speed, man. Those little legs are, they're choppy. They're firing. So, yeah, Arizona, again, when they're really good, they're good. But when they're bad, they're bad. So they're very Jekyll and Hyde. But if you're the Jets, you have to expect that they're going to be on. Okay? And we'll get a scouting report. They play the Bears this weekend. Bears. Phil. The one guy I wanted to keep was Garrett. What a play. That catch was epic. Both catches were epic. The first one where he just one-handed it and then walks it in. And then obviously the second one was absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely friggin' ridiculous. I mean, I still am in shock of how he did it. I mean, Garrett Wilson's so good that, like, it doesn't surprise me that he can make crazy-ass plays, but, like, still, to see it and him, Michael Jordan, whoa, jump man his ass, okay. We see you, Garrett. Again, I say welcome to superstardom. The same thing happened to OBJ in primetime, and he did the same. Darren says, Paul, please show the playoff standings. Who the hell are we chasing? Well, Darren, you ask, we shall deliver. And every time we get a member shout out or super chat, Darren, you've been a member for 3 months. We appreciate you. Play a message from my daughter's arrival.
Wow.
Playoff standings, baby. Let's friggin' do it. So here it is. Here are the standings. I'll give you the AFC conference standings. These are the ones that we're paying attention to, people. And again, right now, the New York Jets sit in the 10 hole. Now, it's important to note that obviously the Jets and Texans are the only two teams that have played this week. So keep that in mind as we're taking a gander here at what's happening. But it's important to know. Let's throw it up here on the big board. Let me hide your comment here real quick for you, Darren. And let's take a peek. But appreciate your shout out. So let's go. Alrighty, let me see if I can increase this on the Zoom percentage. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Now we're right up on top of it. Okay. So obviously, number 1 seed gets a bye. Okay, so put them aside. Top 4 seeds, of course, are your divisional winners. So we have AFC West, AFC North, AFC East, AFC South. There you are right now from that perspective. And 5, 6, 7 are your wild cards. Currently, that's Denver, Baltimore, and the LA Chargers. Again, the Jets played Denver and lost, so they lose that head-to-head tiebreaker. They don't play Baltimore this year. They don't play LA. Look at the team ahead of them. Indianapolis. The Jets play them in 2 weeks on Sunday Night Football. Big, 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 massive, absolutely massive game. You have Cincinnati, who's 3-5. Thank you for Philadelphia beating them last week. That's good. Obviously, let's look at some of the other teams. Again, some of these other teams play, so they could leapfrog the Jets this weekend, obviously. The Dolphins, you play twice. You control your destiny. The Jets don't play the Browns. They don't play the Raiders. They do play the Jaguars. And then, obviously, they've already played their 2 games against the Patriots, and they played their game against Tennessee already. So, for the Jets, obviously, we have 8 games left. Okay, Jets got to win. That's great. Got 8 games left. The Jets, obviously, are 3-6. If they won out, the Jets would be 11-6. That'd be great. That would make the playoffs. Will they be able to win all those games? We'll find out. If they lose 1, they have 10 wins. I still think 10 wins makes the playoffs. I'm going to be honest. I don't think we're going to have a 10-win team missing the playoffs. We have not had a 10-win team that I'm aware of. I'll go back and look at the numbers that have missed the playoffs in the 7-seed era. So we'll see if that happens. But I think 10 is your magic number. I think that gets you in. So you have the wiggle room of 1 potential loss, and it depends who it's to. But you have 1 potential loss. So these are the playoff standings. So here are the teams we're chasing. Denver, Baltimore, LA, Indy, Cincy, Miami, Cleveland. Or, well, those other teams ahead of us. But the other thing is the Bills are 6-2. Jets are 3-6. So the Bills obviously have a dramatic lead. The best way to make the playoffs is, well, of course, winning your own division. It's going to be quite difficult. Now Buffalo can't win it the way that we thought, because for them to have clinched it in Week 11, which would have been the earliest, it's tied for the earliest all time, they needed the other teams in the AFC East to implode and them to keep winning. So that scenario obviously did not happen because the Jets beat the Texans. But those are your NFL standings. Those are some of the teams that we'll be chasing. Matthias says the atmosphere last night was awesome. It looked awesome at MetLife Stadium. Again, I wish I was there. It was friggin' amazing, electric. Again, that first half seemed awful, scoreless. Although we know why they didn't score at least one of those touchdowns. Malachi Corley, we're looking at you, buddy. We'll see how that young man handles it. Galatron 76 says, what team have the Jets not competed with this year? 49ers, they got their teeth kicked down their throat. That's one I'm not looking at sideways. I'm like, yeah, they kicked our ass. Yep. Yeah, we couldn't stop the run. Hell, we couldn't stop the run against Joe Mixon and the Texans. We did in the second half, but that also speaks a little bit to, for some reason, Houston not running the ball as much in the second half. But, the 49ers kicked our ass, but everyone else you were in the conversation with, which there's some solace in that, to what Aaron Rodgers said last night, that they feel like they could beat any team, but it's about time they proved it. Yeah, that's for sure. So, yeah, if 49ers kicked our Patuki. Yes. Besides, week one, the Jets have been in every single game. That is absolutely true. Phil says Denver could fall off. They certainly could. It all depends on the Bo Nix experience, which, again, as we've seen, it's both good and bad. Taylor Sterling. How can Sauce be trash and overrated, but we are still getting 2 firsts for him? What is it? Yeah, just let me clarify all this. Number one, I feel like if the Jets trade Sauce, they get 2 ones. Sauce is awesome. He's a premium player at a premium position. His first 2 years being a first team All-Pro, no one else has ever done that at the cornerback position. So pretty good. Pretty good. I don't think he's trash. I think to be the superstar elite, he was obviously elite of the elite in his first 2 years, first team All-Pro. It speaks for itself. That's a very elite club. But for Sauce to be the best corner in football, you got to take the ball away. You got to shut down your side of the field consistently. And you can't be having no-name dudes running all over you. So it's nice to see Sauce get that PD at the end of the game. There's Cade Stover. He was playing a tight end, got a nice little pass deflection. His pass deflection numbers are down this year. Obviously, his interception numbers. He has now gone 33 straight games without a pick. That is historic stuff. One more game, and he will have gone essentially 2 full seasons without an interception. 34 games, 17 games a season. Bing, boom, bam. That's math, baby. That'd be 2 seasons. Unbelievable. So, no, I don't think he's trash. Overrated. People could say that if they want to. But, yeah, he's an important part of this team's future. I think a lot of people were getting a little froggy with that young man. Richard Todd 14, Victory Friday. Feels nice. Absolutely. Oh, yeah, how many members away, Boy Green? I'm sorry, I'm an idiot. I forgot to put that up. We're 36 members away from Phil getting his emoji. So, yeah, baby. Let's do it. Let's see if we could get there at some point here in the near future. Even on the show today, I mean, that'd be crazy. That'd be cool. So I'm sorry, I forgot to flip the switch. 36 members away. Phil says, when Adams ran that beautiful route for a touchdown, it's like, this is what a professional team does to close their game. I couldn't agree more. The Jets have talked all week about, you know what, maybe the offense should just step on the throat of the opponent and we just say, hey, we're going to do this. And I'm like, yeah, please show me. Yeah, that'd be terrific. And it was awesome. On a 3rd and short play, they're like, F this. We're not just going to inch for the first down. We're going to freaking take a jugular shot. And it was beautiful. All those people saying Davante Adams, washed? I'm like, nah, he ain't washed. We just need to get him the ball. Aaron Rodgers has struggled getting Davante the ball. They have not been on the same page for a lot of their mini run together here on the Jets. So it's great to see. Let's go to Allen. 2 questions. Number 1, if a team calls and offers a 2 for Reed, do you answer? At 8-9 or even maybe 9-8, does Jody actually get a year 7? So let's go through these. If a team calls and offers a 2 for Reed, do I answer? I absolutely answer because you have to answer those calls. Again, if someone calls to me on Sauce, Brees, or Garrett, I'm picking up and saying, smirk, no. Boop. So I answer, but politely say, thank you, but, you can shove it. Bend over. But on DJ Reed, how could you not? Now, I'd love to have him for the rest of this run, but a 2 is incredibly intriguing. I love DJ Reed a lot. Again, hopefully we could keep him. Now, I'd be kind of disappointed if we kept him, we didn't make the playoffs, and then he just goes elsewhere, like he didn't stay with the Jets. That'd be disappointing. To your second point, to me, it's not record. If the Jets can find a Guatemalan way of making the playoffs, say 8-9, and doing whatever they do in the playoffs, okay. I said it before the year. The Jets need to make the playoffs, and they need to at least win a playoff game. That's my line in the sand. So, no, I don't believe 8-9 or a 9-8 alone gets Joe Douglas a 7th year. And plus, it wouldn't even just be a 7th year. His contract would be out, so he wouldn't sign a 1-year extension, I would imagine. He'd want a big long-term deal, or he'd leave, I would imagine. So that makes it even more difficult, I would say. Alex said, I laughed so hard at Riley Patterson's doink kick in. I just went of course. So when it doinks, I'm like, I was hoping we'd get the what happened, right? The doink in, doop, doop. I'm like, and then the refs just go. And I'm like, oh, thank God. Jeebus, blessed be he. Yes, like, oh, thank God. Oh, good Lord. After all the Greg Zerline problems, I think all of us were like, oh, please, for the love of God, please just go in. And boy, did it. So, Molon says, stop calling him an all-pro. Of course. By the way, if I go to school to be a doctor and then I have a rough patch, I want people to still call me a doctor. He was a first-team all-pro for 2 years. And by the way, we haven't picked new all-pros yet, so he's still an all-pro. He's the reigning, defending first-team all-pro. So I will keep calling him an all-pro, Molon Labe. I will continue to call him an all-pro. It's like the champs. The Chiefs are still the champs. They've won it back-to-back years. We have not crowned a new champion yet. By default, still all-pro. So come on now. Brandon A. says, I need the Jets to win 4 straight so I could go to the game in Miami. Oh, that'd be great. I don't know if that should be the line for you to go into the game in Miami, but you spend your own money however you want to. Taylor Strong. I mean, Sasa, 2-time All-Pro, he's only played 2 seasons. Yeah, he's in his 3rd season. I think we should put more respect on his name now. Again, we should have high expectations for him because he's an incredibly talented player. But come on now. FFL 98, he said this on the postgame show yesterday. I'll say it again. He says, just wondering if people still want to trade Wilson. Again, I just cannot believe that we had, not we, like me, should we trade him? There was conversations on these airwaves, and I'm sure that individual is going to call into the show when I open up the phone lines. We've got 400 people in the room. Make sure you guys like the video, hit subscribe. Trading Garrett Wilson is friggin' bonkers, man. Ridiculous. For what, a future draft pick where hopefully you could get half a Garrett Wilson? That makes no friggin' sense. And overreacting to size. I thought the size thing was wild. And I explained that some of the best receivers in the NFL are 6'1" or shorter. Like, what are we talking about? Let's not overreact to size. About 1A, 1B, this, that, or the other. Can't be this because of size. Ridiculous. He's not 5'4". He's 6 foot. It's plenty big. Plenty big. He's a talented young man. Now, you see, and this is probably the frustrating thing, I think, for some people in the Garrett Wilson thing, is you see him do Air Jordan to catch a touchdown. Like, oh. And then earlier this season, he gets shut down by another team's number 1 corner. Like, huh? So, like, I still think there's some growing there for Garrett. Like, he's doing this, and I think a lot of help from Davante Adams, certainly. But, like, yeah, trade Garrett Wilson. Ridiculous. Again, I want to reiterate, I don't want to trade any of the big boys. No Brees, no Garrett, no Sauce. I want to build around those guys. I don't want to trade them. Absolutely not. Alan says, I'd still gauge what the Sauce market is. Absolutely not. No, sir. You can make other calls, but I don't think so. JETS, baby. Jets. Love it. Danny says, y'all will lose a bunch of tiebreakers or 10. That's guaranteeing enough teams get to 10, which we'll see. I don't know. Again, okay, let me just do this. Let me see. Okay. So here's what I'm going to do for you, Danny. Let me take a peek ski, if I can, at the playoffs from last year. Okay. Let me see if there's a way to do this. I think so. All right. Okay, let me zoom out of this real quick. I'm still zoomed in from our last rally here. Okay. So I'm going to look at the standings from last year. How many 10-win teams were there last year in the AFC? Let's take a gander here. Let's go 2023. Let's go conference. Okay. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So, yeah. So, any team that won 10 games made the playoffs. No team in the AFC that won 10 games missed the playoffs. Let me take a peek at the NFC. Same story. If a team won 10 games, and then there was multiple 9-win teams that made the playoffs in the NFC. If you win 10, you're in the playoffs. That's what it said last year. Now let me I'll take a gander at the year before to see if there's a better sample size here. Let's go to 2022. Any team that won 10 games made the playoffs. That is true in the AFC in 2022, and that's true in the NFC. Every team that won 10 games made it. That's 2 years straight. Let's go 2021. Let's check that. Every team that won 10 games made the playoffs. Let me take a peek at the NFC. Every team that won 10 games made the playoffs. That's 3 straight years. I felt pretty confident about it. Now we have the numbers. So, Danny, y'all will lose a bunch of tiebreakers to 10. Disagree. Every team that had 10 wins made the playoffs over the last 3 years in both the AFC and the NFC, respectively. 10 wins will be enough. 9 wins, oh boy. I don't know. There were some teams that missed at 9. There weren't teams that missed at 10. I think we're overreacting a little bit. So the Jets have a chance. So again, that's the margin. If I'm drawing the line at 10, which I believe I am because I just said it, I think the key there for the Jets is continuing to not have that margin for error, which they do. FL Phil 98 said, we had people saying trade everyone. Now they want to add. I don't know who else there is to add, to be honest with you, FL Phil, but I'm probably just rocking what I got, probably. I mean, I'd have to assess the injuries. The injuries I'd have to assess because, boy, the offensive line injuries are devastating. John Simpson gets hurt. ABT is hurt. Jake Hansen's hurt. Xavier Newman's hurt. We had offensive tackles playing guard for the first time in their lives. Not great, Bob. Not great. Jared B., I'm assuming he's talking about Quentin Jefferson. He's one I would have a conversation about, a defensive tackle for sure. And I don't know if there's any offensive linemen that are up for grabs anyway, but FL Phil 98. There was a lot of things at the game last night. Okay, we'll open up the phone lines in a little bit, but there are a lot of things in the game last night that happened and said, oh, that's a good sign. Of course, number one, Jets having an extra point doink in. You're like, oh, okay, that's got to be a good sign. Number one, Texans having kicker issues, missing field goals. You're like, whoa. Tommy Fairburn, for those who don't know, and I'd understand if you don't, if you're not a kicker person, Tommy Fairburn has been one of the best kickers in all of football this year. He's been great. He missed 2 kicks. Obviously, the first one, and then let's get to the second one. The first one was a 50-plus yarder, very long, missed it, whatever. The Texans make a field goal initially. The Jets were up 14-10. They were then up 14-13. Oh, whoa. Wait a second. Jets touched the snapper, the long snapper. That's a penalty. Boom. Texans wipe the points off the board. They're up or down 14-13. The Texans go, oh, wait, we have first goal? Yeah, take away the 3 points. Whoop. Now it's 14-10. We get the ball. Boom, boom, boom. All right. The Jets defense held strong. All right, we'll kick a field goal. Doink, bang. Field goal misses. For the Jets to jet, or same old Jets, or whatever term you want to use, and for it to work, like, if the Jets weren't idiots, they would have only been up 1, and God knows that changes the game, because that end sequence there, you still have a chance. If you're Houston, because it's a 1-score game, you're only up 8 if they make that field goal, so that totally changes the end of the game. So, yeah, there were 2 things last night, at least, for me, FL Phil 98, where I said, oh, okay, that's a good sign that maybe the football gods are looking upon the Jets with favor. It was the Jets doinking extra point in. I said, oh. And then, of course, the Jets jetting, doing something incredibly stupid. You're like, oh, boy. And then, like, it worked out for them that it happened, as opposed to them not doing it at all. So, incredible. Absolutely incredible. Gallatron 76. How do we feel about the double-digit kicker jersey number? Yeah, 46 for Ollie Patterson. Disgusting. But if I'm being honest, Greg Zuerlein had a single-digit jersey number, so, zig when others are zagging, I suppose. Gallatron would probably be the best way to appropriately handle that. Number one Austrian Jets fan. Do I expect the Jets to make a move at the trade deadline? Not necessarily. If there was an offensive lineman available, maybe you could make a move there, but offensive linemen are very hard to move because no one wants to. There's not a lot of great ones, and teams aren't normally in a rush to move them. But defensive tackle could be a thing. I have to, like Ifoju's on IR, so yeah, you could use like a Quentin Jefferson. Alan Lazard's hurt, but you're probably going to trust the guys in the room. Trying to think of who else. What else am I missing here? Oh, pass rusher. What's Will McDonald's status? You know, he came back in the game, but like, was that adrenaline? Like, what's going on there? So pass rusher potentially. So pass rusher, edge player / defensive tackle could be options. Offensive line if there's a guy available, but probably not. There's probably not a guy available. But good questions, guys. Good questions. Oh, NY Jets FL said, that's a me. I'll call in about his Garrett Wilson trade stuff. Okay. All right. That'll be a good time. Galvatron, didn't the Saints start 2-6 in 2021 playoff? I don't think so. There was 3 teams they put on the. Well, it could be if the whatever the place is got the stat wrong. I think it was NFL Network put 3 teams on the screen that started like 2-5, 2-6, whatever it was, and there was Jaguars, Commanders, and I'm missing the third team, but I don't remember it being the Saints. But yeah, babe, I mean, they can happen. Playoffs. Yep, that's right, people. Playoffs. Why not? Who doesn't love talking some playoffs here on the show? All right, here we go. Let's open up the phone lines. We've delayed long enough. We've got nearly 500 people in the room. Guys, feel free to call in. You guys can call in on YouTube. You can call into the show. All right, and that is the pinned comment on YouTube. We just put that up, so feel free to call into the show. If you're watching on Facebook or Twitter, you have to hop on over to YouTube to call in. And that is the pinned comment on youtube.com/BoyGreen25. But to reiterate the message, as calls are coming in here in just a second, the second half version of Aaron Rodgers is the kind of Aaron Rodgers that can do a lot of bleep and bleep for the New York Jets to accomplish anything and everything that they want to do. Abso-freaking-lutely. That's the kind of Aaron Rodgers that can help the Jets do some things and make some damage. Jay Klein, Breece Hall's trade value went up a lot last night. Why are we trading Breece Hall? What's everyone's desire to trade away our really good players? That makes no sense. I'm not trading the big 3. I said that before. I'm saying that again. What is the desire of some of you people? And by the way, if Joe Douglas is gone soon anyway, he should not be making those decisions. For the love of Pete. And the Jets are in the middle of everything they're in the middle of. But speaking of potentially trading one of those guys, there was a guy who called into the show and, he showed us his dating profile, and he's into Amazonian women that are very tall. That's his thing. Hey, different strokes, different folks. He likes women who are at least 6'7". There's nothing wrong with that. Hey, you know what? Different strokes, different folks. But I think we saw basically from Snooki last night that, hey, short women can still get it done. So let's go to our boy, NY Jets FL. You're on the show.
Good morning. As long as a 6'7" woman doesn't have a penis, I'm good with it, Paul.
Okay, there you go. That's a good line to draw. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, so again, FL Phil 98, I believe he's calling me out a lot. But let me say this.
Yeah.
He doesn't have good listening skills. I said, if we look like crap and we lose 38-6, you can go back and look at the tape. If we played horrendously and we got blown out, that's when I would look to trade. And I did admittedly say that. You're looking at Garrett coming off a monumental effort, okay, that we haven't seen before. So it's a little skewed that, everyone can pile on, and I don't care. I can take heat, whatever. Everyone can pile on my take, but, he made 2 unbelievable catches. Awesome. I mean, incredible catches. So I haven't seen that, Paul. I've seen him get the ball knocked out of his arms in the end zone and a critical catch. That's what I see. I didn't see that till last night. So good for you guys, FL Field 98. I'm happy for you that you could point out that I wanted to trade Garrett, but that's my point. We have not seen that Garrett. We've seen flashes of Garrett playing well, and we actually saw a team that actually, after the first half, had some fight. Okay, and really, you could see they wanted to win this, and you could see everyone raise their level of play, especially backups like Max Mitchell and those guys that came in played amazingly well in the second half. I'll start with that, Paul.
For sure. Yeah, and that's a great place to start. Again, I give a major shout out to Max Mitchell, who's played some guard in his career, but it was all right guard, not left guard, so that's different. And he's mainly an offensive tackle. And then Olu Fashanu, a guy who is, again, he had played left tackle his entire life. He was born and bred. When he came out of the womb, his parents said, "You're going to be a left tackle." And he has just been a left tackle his entire life. And then this training camp, the Jets are like, "Hey, you want to flirt around with right tackle?" He's like, "Yeah, I guess." And then like last night, they're like, "Hey, you want to learn guard? Like now? Get out there!" Like an impossible ask by the New York Jets. But again, to put as many of their quote-unquote best on the field as possible, the Jets had to do what they had to do, and that makeshift Frankenstein, very Halloween-y, that very Frankenstein offensive line, they slapped together and made it happen. So both of those individuals deserve a major tip of the cap.
And based on the AFC, Phil, I can say now that we can add a run stopper, which we desperately need. We need a guy in the middle. We got pushed back a lot during the running game. So, yes, after that win, things change. Paul, who would have thought Cleveland was going to be Baltimore last week? Okay,
100%.
No, right. I mean, this AFC is so weak. I'll be honest with you. I could see 8-9 make the playoffs if things break right. You never know. It's such a weak, situation. But that's all I have to say. You know, I made a call later in the week last week, and I said, you know, Garrett. I softened my stance a little bit on Garrett, but Sauce Gardner, he played okay.
Tackling was still pretty poor, but yes, overall, I thought he played okay. I mean, he just looks like, and I tweeted out a GIF of it, but it's like a baby Bambi out there. Like the legs are on ice and jumping all over the place. I'm like, man, what is happening? So he still has to kind of buckle the chin strap and clean some stuff up for sure. But we need to see what the hell that'll be a documentary one day. What the hell happened to Sauce Gardner in year 3? But again, hopefully he's able to turn it around and get back to the player that he was his first 2 years.
Okay. I'll say this. Garrett is a 1. He's a 1. He's my mea culpa. He's a 1. He's a 1.
All right.
With those kind of hand skills, I have no doubt. Like I said, before this game, there were quite a few drops and quite a few catches where he got the ball knocked out of his arms. And I was feeling that he didn't have it during crunch time. Like that's when you need your big players to step up. But then maybe it was just a condition of how the team, maybe it was just a condition of how the team plays. They were all playing mediocre together. So, we click on all cylinders. Yeah, let's get a big run stopper. I would not trade DJ Reed. I'll tell you that. I wouldn't trade DJ Reed at all.
Yeah. Especially with the win, again, at 2-7, I'm like, okay. 3-6, like where you're in it. I don't think so. Yeah.
Exactly. All right, Paul, that's all I got. Unless anyone wants to say anything, I could stay on and debate them. But that was my feeling. If we went 2-7 and we looked horrendously, I had a feeling the culture, culture was bad, bad enough. Listen to Rodgers' comments about Jeff Ulbrich after the game.
Super cool.
He loves Ulbrich, and he never said that much about Salah. Let's just say that.
That's for sure.
Thanks,
but
Paul.
I appreciate it. Thank you, NY Jets FL. Yeah, no FL Phil 98 on the hold. I would definitely bring you both on together. That'd be a fun chat. If he comes on later, I'll let you know. But absolutely. It was great to see from Garrett, man. Again, obviously, he had the killer moment in the Sunday Night Football game against Pittsburgh where the ball bounces right off his chest, intercepted. I mean, brutal. But he's a young man that's passionate. He's a young man that cares. He's a young man that lays it out there. And that I love to all end. And that's what really revs my engine. Obviously, he's incredibly talented, man. But friggin' Garrett loves the game, man. And as a fellow passionate guy who is very emotional, that really rings home true. By the way, NY Jets FL, if you want to call back in a little bit, I think you might have your dancing partner here on the show. But let me get to another call here real quick. Easy, you're on the show. What's up, Easy?
Every time I'm ready to write them off, them green bastards suck me back into the vortex.
Every time.
This was the team I was expecting to see this year. Mm-hmm. Good defense, good offense. Maybe not great defense and great offense, but good. Which means Greg Zuerlein screwed us up because his leg could have kept us into the season until we got our shit together.
Yeah, I still don't know why the Jets didn't cut his ass, to be honest with you. Now, if he eventually turns it around, then the Jets can dunk on me the same way that FL Phil 98 was dunking all over Ted in a NBA Slam Jam game. Like, they may be able to do that because Zerline's on IR, and then he could come back at a later point this season.
It may turn out he was
maybe.
It may turn out he was hurt all year.
Maybe.
And you know, these kickers are weird. If they're hurt, a lot of times they're not going to say anything because they're probably one of the most vulnerable guys to get cut mid-season.
But wouldn't they want to say something? Because, like, if everyone's saying, hey, Zerline, you suck, buddy, and he's like, actually, I've been hurt the whole year, wouldn't you want to say that because that would protect you? And Jared B. just said it, mentally hurt. Like, his psyche seemed like it was fucked. So,
he was fried. He was fried. You could tell in preseason he missed a couple of easy dinkers in preseason, and he just kind of never snapped out of that. Which is kind of weird. I don't understand.
He's a pro. He's not a second-year player. He's been around for a decade. Like, what are we talking about?
What is he? 12 years in the league. He knows. He knows the deal.
Long time. So, that's what
didn't
shocked
he kick
me.
for Dallas for a long time?
He did. He kicked for Dallas. The Rams he kicked for a long time in some big moments.
He's a pro.
He's been around the block. Yeah, of course he is. Yeah, he's a pro's pro. Absolutely.
Actually, what he should have said is he should have gone up to the coach and said, listen, I don't know what's wrong right now, but you better bring somebody in until I can get my shit together because I'm going to cost you games. I'd have had a lot more respect for him if he would have done that.
Yeah. I imagine he did not do that, unfortunately. But either way, I'm glad that the Jets got their own way. Hey, welcome to the team. Whatever the Riley Patterson, God bless. Welcome to the team.
Garrett Wilson. Oh my God, that Michael Jordan catch. That was incredible. And that was his second amazing catch of the game.
Yeah.
That first one was great too. Two TDs and then that pass from Rodgers, that 50-yard bomb.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
To Adams. Oh my God. That was like perfect. I mean, that was literally he gave a hand signal to him and he just beat that guy like he was beating him with a broomstick, and that pass was in stride, right in the hands, perfectly placed. That was vintage Aaron Rodgers. That was amazing.
Well, thank God Garrett Wilson, got on his tippy toes because, again, for fellow short guys, I imagine it must have been pretty difficult on some of those catches. So thank you, Garrett.
They kept showing the other catch. Why do I do this? The guy from the Giants.
OBJ. Yeah.
OBJ. I think Garrett Wilson's was better.
Oh, I think it was 100% better because when you factor
not
in
by
everything,
much. Not by much.
I mean,
awesome.
I'm not trying to disrespect OBJ, but at
the time, everyone was going, "Wow, man!"
It was 10 years ago. It was super cool, and I hope Garrett. I don't know yet because I've only been with myself and you guys calling in my house, so I haven't gotten the outside national perspective yet. But I hope it blows up in the same way that OBJ did because Garrett deserved it.
I can just imagine the relief in that locker room.
Oh my God! Yes. Yeah,
Jeff gets his first win,
but relief, I think, is the proper word. Yeah,
and put a little smile on Woody's face. That's what Woody was paying for. What we got last night. That's exactly what he was paying for. Mm-hmm. And I feel, oh my God, Malachi Corley, unbelievable. That is going to be in the all-time NFL blooper reel forever.
That it will. With clown music probably behind it too. He pulled the Deshaun Jackson.
That's going to be like the Jim Marshall running the wrong way for the touchdown. So
yeah,
that's a long time ago.
Lead action. Yeah,
I mean, those are classic. Like, oh my God, what was I thinking? Plays. So we actually beat them 28 to whatever. But
yes, right. Right. Technically, we won 21-13, but 28-13.
Yeah.
But we really.
I guarantee you one thing.
What's that?
He will never, ever, ever do that again. He might just hold the ball all the way back to the sideline next time he scores a point.
I hope he holds it with 3 arms, and I don't know if he has a third arm. I just, again, it'll be interesting to see how the young man responds. For all the people that said it, he's not getting cut, but I'll be curious whenever that moment happens. Is it Arizona? Is it Indy? Is it Miami? I don't know when.
Up until he threw the ball down. Up until he threw the ball down, that was a great play.
Well, right. That's there's
I
a
mean,
lot
it
of
was
things I could say in life. It was great 99.9% of the way, and then I fucked it up.
Yeah.
But yes, that's,
You know that ball, if that ball did not roll out of the end zone, I think it rolled out of the end zone by about 4 inches. If that ball would have stayed in the end zone, it would have just been considered a fumble, and we would have gotten the ball at the 1 yard line.
Correct. But to be honest,
So that was a whole bunch of stupid.
Well, no. So I'm glad that we won, obviously, for all the obvious reasons. But I'm kind of glad the ball went in the back of the end zone because I don't think the lesson would have hit as hard for Malachi. Because, I think it's when you're driving around, right? And it just happened to me yesterday. There's a car in front of me that did something really stupid, and it should have caused a massive accident. The guy got lucky that it didn't. And I'm like, and I thought to myself in the car, I'm like, I wonder if that guy's like, whew, that was close. I should never do that again. Or, I got away with it. Sweet. So, that's what I mean. So, Malachi actually getting into the quote-unquote accident, I think you learn a lot harder lessons than when you just barely dodge the bullet. So, again,
you
for me,
definitely learn more from adversity than you do from success.
That's for sure. So, we'll see how the kid responds.
How's your girlfriend and how's she doing
here? Yeah, we are on the we
getting
did
close.
The trick-or-treating last night. Absolutely, we are right on the verge. So she is doing as great as you can do, all things considered. So hopefully we'll have good updates for all you guys soon.
So what'd you have ZL dressed as?
We did all the bluey stuff. So we were the Australian blue heelers, all the dogs from a cartoon show. All the kids watch.
Oh my God!
Yeah, so it was great. So
you got to enjoy these times. They're only this cute for 60, 70 more years.
Okay, I'll make sure I keep that in easy. I love it. Yeah, so we'll do that as well. All right, we got a bunch of callers. We'll get to all you here, but let's get to the main event. Wait, do I still have the sound? I don't know if I do. Let me see. I don't have the boxing bell sound. That would have been great. But here we are. In one corner, FL Phil 98. In another corner, NY Jets FL. Oh, wait, is NY? Oh, there he is. Okay, boys, please. Garrett Wilson, topic. Let's go.
Yeah, listen, Ted, if you want to go first, go ahead.
Oh crap! I can't see Phil or hear Phil.
Oh, you can't. Okay. Well, how about this, NY Jets FL? Oh, that's anticlimactic. I'll kick you out of the studio here. You just rejoin when you get a chance. But for now, FL Phil 98. I'll just we could grace us with your presence as he's getting his Patuki back in here. How you doing, buddy?
I'm great. The reason that I put in the comment about Gibson and about adding a player, it's not about listening skills. It's about a very different view for several days now before this game, regardless of the outcome. For me, whether they were 2-7 or 3-6 today had nothing to do with Garrett Wilson being traded. Okay. And if he hadn't had the amazing night he had, my opinion still would have been the same, that to trade him and hope to get another guy who's as good or better, I think is a long shot. That's been my take for him and guys like Sauce and a handful of other guys. I'm always on the opposing side of the running back. I don't think you ever pay running backs a lot of money. If you want to keep Brees, you make him an offer you can live with. If he doesn't want it, you trade him. There's always a ton of running backs. Now, that's just my philosophy. I know there's people out there that say he's a special talent, and maybe he is. He is. I won't say maybe. He is a special talent. But I think there's always guys that you have to look to save money to pay the guys you have to. This always comes back to the salary cap that I talk about all the time. Right? One of the things that Ted said to me repeatedly in the chat was, you want to pay Garrett Wilson, Sauce Gardner, $30 million. Well, I don't have to yet. I'll worry about that when I have to. Okay? But right now, what I'm worried about is if this team does tank and I got to bring in a whole new staff, do I want the cupboard bare? Or do I want to have some pieces that somebody can look at and say, I got some real good young talent here to work with?
I just got to tell you, FL Phil 98, one of my favorite things is if I move into a new place, I'm like, oh, a couch is already here. This is great. Okay. You have a few items. It's already furnished. Okay. Not bad. A lot better than empty,
Right. So that's all I was trying to say here, okay, is that based on last night, and Ted, you said it yourself, based on last night, if it had been a shit show, you'd still want to trade Wilson. That was my point, was I would not want to trade Wilson if it was a shit show. If he had 4 drops last night, I wouldn't have wanted to trade Wilson. I think there's been a long, slow process between him and Rodgers. Maybe they're turning the corner here. I'm not sure on that yet. None of that matters to me. What I've been saying for days now, ever since the fire sale shit started, was, listen, I also wrote this a couple of days ago. I'm listening to anybody. The phone rings, like you said, somebody calls and you're saying, I'm not even listening to it. Hey, you want to give me 2 number 1s for Sauce Gardner? Fuck, I'm on a plane by noon. Okay?
Okay.
I'm listening. Okay, I'm listening, but I'm not actively trying to dump these guys.
Sure.
And there was other people that talking about stockpiling 5th and 6th round picks. That does you fucking no good at all. All right.
Can I say something? Can I say something?
Go ahead. Yeah.
Hey, Ed. Oh, hey, Phil. I do respect your takes, but let me say this. If Sauce Gardner remains who he is, and he doesn't get picks and he doesn't tackle, and you're 2 more years down the road, and he wants the bag. I mean, what his value is completely shot. Okay, you got to overpay him now. You want that kind of player who doesn't tackle? I don't want that kind of guy leading my. I don't want that guy as my corner, number 1 corner. I don't want it. That's my point. Plus, wait, one more thing. Plus, my point was to trade the pieces to build the lines, right? Our defensive line obviously proves that we need a lot of help there. Our offensive line, we're going to need some players. My point is to build out from the lines out, because it may take 3 or 4 years to build the offensive defensive line. And now Garrett and Sauce are now maybe closer to their second contracts if they sign their first big one. So that's my point. They're older. They may be good. Garrett may be great. But, what if Sauce is the same and now he wants big money and now you're stuck?
So just
That's
a
my-
quick
that's
follow-up
my-
on the comment that you made,
can I
real
answer?
quick. Yeah, you
Can I
can in a second. I just want to. You said his value would be shot. What do you mean? Like, I still think if Sauce is what he is, as he is right now, value shot. I think there would be 31 other teams that would want Sauce Gardner, even if he has some deficiencies in some of those other areas. Because according to the analytics, his coverage is still good, and that's the number 1 job of a corner.
Go ahead, Phil.
Yeah. So, and I'm not sure. First of all, I'm not sure when you were off if you could hear what I had said before you came back on. I don't know if you missed them. Okay, so you missed a lot. And so one of the things that I talked about was we keep talking about, and I said, you actually wrote in a chat to me the other day, do you want to pay $30 million for Sauce?
Yeah.
No, I don't. Okay. No, I don't, but I don't have to right now. I'm not worried about 2 years down the road. If Sauce performs well, wait a minute. See, Ted, you're shaking your head. You haven't even let me finish the sentence. Okay.
I got you. I didn't say anything. I can shake my head. I didn't say anything. I'm respecting you. Go ahead.
Okay. Whenever we talk about these guys that we got to pay for, 4, 5, 6 weeks ago, we were talking about, Nick said we couldn't sign Reddick because we got these guys we got to sign and it'll ruin the freaking salary cap, right? Well, now we're talking about we're going to trade this guy because we don't want to pay him. And this guy's not performing. He may not be here. And this guy's hurt. Okay. You worry about the salary cap and what you got to pay when you got to pay it. Now, I understand your point. I do. I'm just trying to say we're talking about 2 very different things. Now, I actually agree with you about the building from the line. Now, if you got pieces that you can trade and maybe pick up some 2nd and 3rd round picks and maybe parlay that into a first and get 2 first round picks and pick up what you believe is a can't miss offensive or defensive lineman, I agree. And we always talk about those 5 positions. I agree with you, Ted, on one thing 100%. I would use my draft picks predominantly on linemen until I have a really solid line. I would use the free agent market to fill gaps in those 5 key spots if I don't have them.
Like
That's
Tyron
what I would.
Smith.
Okay. Well, again,
Like Tyron Smith.
I understand what you're saying. Okay, I do, and that's a miss. There's no question that was a miss. And I would listen. I wouldn't have signed Tyron Smith for $20 million, but it depends on how many games he plays and how he does and all this kind of stuff. Listen, that there's no question. They took a shot and they whiffed on Smith. Okay. What I'm trying to say is you can't have it both ways. You can't have great players, have a ton of draft picks, and then say, I can't sign this guy and I can't sign that guy 2 years before you actually have to pay the guy. And what you can always do, by the way, there's never going to be more than 3 guys usually in a year that all want the bag, that are all due for their money. And you're going, holy shit, what am I going to do? In that case, here's what you do. You decide the guy you feel you got to have, and you make him.
Is Sauce great, Phil? Is Sauce great, Phil?
No, but did I say he wasn't great 3 times already? I already said
I'm
that.
asking you. You just said you're going to sign your great players. So
You're
I'm
not
asking you, he's not great?
That's not what I said. I said.
No, I'm asking you. You said you want to sign your great players. And I'm saying to you, and I asked you, is Sauce a great player? That's all I asked.
No, right now I don't think he's a great player. I think he's a good player.
Okay.
I think he could.
Yeah.
I think he could be. Wait a minute. I think he has been great. I think he could be great. And right now he's not playing great. And guess what? This is my point, Ted. I don't have to sign him for $30 million right now. I don't have to worry about that.
I understand.
But let me finish the 3-player thought I tried to start. Okay. If you got, say, 3 guys, which is almost never going to happen, that you feel like you got to sign them all. You have to determine which one of these 3 is the guy I want the most. And you make him that top of the line, make him a top paid, the number 1 or number 2 paid player at that position, and you sign that deal. Then you go to your second guy. All right. And you have to decide now between number 2 guy and number 3 guy, which one do I want to tag? Which one do I want to make the best offer I can? And if he refuses, then I trade him. That's what I'm talking about. We're talking about how are we going to pay these guys? And do you want to pay $30 million for a guy I don't have to worry about paying right now? And when I have to worry about paying him, that's when I make that decision. But I'm not trading a guy who's been an all-pro and is still considered a good player that I still got 2 years on his rookie contract. I'm not even thinking about that shit. And I'm not trading him to hope I can get another guy who's as good. That's all I'm trying to say, Ted.
Okay,
And also,
Phil.
I just want to jump in because we keep using this 30 million number. I just want to make it clear that the highest paid corner in football right now is Jalen Ramsey at 24.1 million. The second highest paid corner is Patrick Surtain, the second at 24, and then the third highest paid corner is Jair Alexander at 21 million. So it seems like there's an upper echelon. I know you guys were kind of just speculating.
I was using Ted's number that he threw at me in the chat.
Yeah, so I just want to clarify.
Paul, inflation.
6 million inflation. He is due.
Right.
He can speak.
Right,
the first time he can talk about an extension is next year. What's changed in a couple of months, technically? So how is there going to be a $6 million gap in the market in a couple of months?
Let me ask you guys this question.
Okay.
If Sauce comes to the Jets and says, I want the top. And
so
you say no,
24.2 basically.
He can't do that. He's under contract.
No, whatever he's ready to negotiate. When he's ready
That's
to
2
negotiate.
years from now.
Okay.
I see what you're saying.
And
I see what you're saying.
can-
NY Jets FL. Just to clarify real quick so you can say your point. You're saying when he's eligible to negotiate, which by the way is in a couple months, that's when he is first allowed to discuss with the New York Jets what he wants. You're saying that he could be the highest paid guy. Go ahead from there.
I'm saying, what if he says to you, I want to be the highest paid guy, and then we continue down this road where we're not going to pay him the top because he's not worth it, because he's not playing like it. We're hoping he continues to be, we're hoping he can be the player of the first 2 years, right? That's what we're hoping with so-called better coaching. I don't know how better coaching can teach you how to tackle at this level, because he obviously doesn't want to get his face dirty making tackles. Okay. So what if he says, oh no, I'm gonna start holding out and you're going to trade me, and it gets ugly. That's my point.
Okay, so first of all, you're talking complete worst case scenario, okay? And if that happens, guess what, Ted? Just like any time a player pulls that shit, You got to make decisions. You got to figure out what you're going to do. You're going to make him an offer. If he turns it down, he's going to fucking hold out. If you got to trade him, you trade him. Okay. But you're coming up with all these hypotheticals that may or may not happen. And if they do, you cross that bridge when we come to it. And by the way, we keep talking about Sauce Gardner. He's not even the second guy on this team that I would consider untouchable in a trade anyway. My point was simply that I'm not trading away my best assets if I'm looking to rebuild this team as quickly as possible with a new GM, head coach, and everything else. If I got some guys that are still under contract, that are young, good players, I'm not having a fire sale. But to your point, Ted, I agree. I think draft picks ought to be used on linemen. I think that there's plenty of guys on this team that if somebody made me the right offer, including Sauce Gardner, he's on a plane by noon. There was a lot, but that's not what was being discussed. The last few days was like, I'd trade this guy, I'd trade that guy. I want to get a bunch of picks. I want to do this. I want to do that. And all I kept saying was, whether they're 2-7 or 3-6, I'm not having a fire sale. And I'm going to make every move with the best of intentions for the future. And I'm not trading people that I think can still help my football team.
I understand. My point is, like I said, Sauce Gardner, if he continues down this path, he's going to want number one money for not a number one corner. Number one corners do not. I mean, the only number one corner I remember who doesn't tackle was Dion. Okay, you know. I mean, if he continues down this path, I know it's a hypothetical, but you got to think about it, Phil. His play has slid significantly. He doesn't tackle. He doesn't turn the ball over. And he's evidently, I don't think he's a team leader. I mean,
Ted, I agreed with you. I agreed with you about Sauce in every way I possibly could. All right. I don't think he's a great player. I just said he's not even my number 2 priority to keep. I would listen to trades and have him on a plane by noon. I would make him what I thought was a fair offer under the circumstances. I'm agreeing with you. Other than just trade him for, because, you don't think he's that good.
And Ted, to your point, a corner that has struggled in tackling that we just saw with a media spat is Trayvon Diggs of the Cowboys. He has been called out for his tackling. He just got paid. And when I look at his contract, he didn't end up being the highest paid corner. He's making $19.4 million per year, which is well under. That's $5 million under the overall market. So if Sauce comes up and says like, hey, I want to negotiate, to me, I think there is ground to cover. I don't think if Sauce says, I want to be the highest paid corner no matter what, I think the Jets will say what you said, Ted. They're like, well, look at this tackling and lack of physicality, and then look at this. And for these reasons, we think you're really good, Sauce. Let's chat. Let's have a dance here. You're not going to be the highest paid corner unless you start doing blee, blah, blue, and then we can. But if you're not, then okay, you're going to be among the top 5, top 7 highest paid corners, which I still think you can completely have your construct of a football team and have a negotiation like Garrett even, right? If Garrett comes to the table and says, I want to be the highest paid receiver. And I'm like, I like fairy magical unicorns, Garrett. That doesn't mean I'm going to make you the highest paid wide receiver in football. You have to have these credentials, these numbers, this, that, or the other. And it's a conversation. So I think there will be healthy negotiations with all these players. I don't think there's going to be a situation where Sauce demands to be the highest paid corner, but we won't know till rubber meets the road, and we'll find that out in a couple of months.
Okay, last thing, and I appreciate the conversation. The last thing I'll say is, I just forgot. Damn it!
No, well,
I completely forgot my point. Damn it! It's what happens when you don't have breakfast. Oh, my point was, I wasn't thinking about giving these guys away for third rounders. I mean, I would want high value for these players. I'm not thinking, oh, Sauce sucks, I'm going to flip him for a second. No way. I would want, a premium picks for him. That was my point. I wasn't thinking, hey, Garrett, I'll take a second for Garrett. You know what I mean? That's not what I was thinking.
But even still, first round picks aren't guaranteed. Go ahead, Phil.
Well, and that brings me back to, we keep doing this too. He can't tackle. He's soft. He hasn't had an interception. Blah blah blah. But I think I'm going to get a first and a third for him. Again, if you're saying the guy's not good enough to keep long term or sign to a big deal because of all these problems, then why do you think somebody else is going to dump a bag at your feet? They're not going to do that.
Because if they are facing the Kansas Cities of the world and their windows are tight, they may be willing to pony up for a player that can put them over the top.
Okay, and what did I say?
On a rookie deal. You just said it yourself.
Okay,
He's on a rookie
right.
deal.
Exactly. And what did I also say, Ted? If somebody calls me up and makes an offer too good to be true, I'm taking it. So guess what? If my phone rings right now and somebody's offering me a first and a second for Sauce Gardner, he's gone.
Okay.
All right,
I
boys.
respect your opinion, but I understand you want to keep your good players, but Sauce is I don't know what the word is. He doesn't tackle and he doesn't turn the ball over. That's not number one corner material.
And again,
maybe in a better system, and maybe on a better team, he would be a lot better.
Again, I said I don't think he's great. I said he's not even my number 2 priority. I said I would make him an offer when I had to, based on what I thought he was worth. And if he didn't take it, then I would trade him. Ted, I'm sorry, man. I've been extremely consistent across the board.
Oh, I'm not saying you. I'm not saying. I just have a different philosophy. I'm not saying you. I wasn't saying you don't have your theories and you've been consistent. I never said you were inconsistent on anything, quite honestly. I was consistent on the eyeball test. On the eyeball test of Garrett, who has these issues where late in games he gets the ball knocked out of his arms. Up until yesterday, when he's making highlight catches. And
then why would somebody give me all again? We're going in circles, Ted. I appreciate. I truly do appreciate your opinions. I truly appreciate.
Okay, no problem. You guys have a good one.
Yep. Yeah. Thanks for the conversation, guys. Appreciate you. So, okay, there we go. Okay. Healthy chats. That's for sure. I would just say this. Sauce is 24 years of age. I think there's a lot more evolving to do. He's had 2 awesome years, 1 so-so year. Well, okay, he's still got a lot of life left. I don't have to determine whether or not he's getting into the pearly gates based on 2 years of children. Like, that 3rd year, Sauce, was a little questionable. I'm cool allowing him to continue to evolve. Let's go back to the phone lines. Pep joins us here on the show. What's up, Pep?
Hey, fellas. I think Sauce is hurt or something. There's something going on with him. He's not letting go. He's still great. I mean, he was the only. I think he wasn't the only defensive back that was an All-Pro for the first 2 years.
That is correct. Yes.
I mean, that's way ahead of what Revis was. So
that's correct. That is true. Yeah.
I think there's a lot going on we don't know about.
Yes.
And not every there's the reason they're defensive backs is because they're not wide receivers, is because they don't catch the ball.
That's what they say.
That's what they say, But anyway, I'm curious about as far as I heard that Rodgers was talking some smack to the commentators about how there's a path to the to getting into the playoffs.
Yeah. He was telling the broadcasters apparently they're having a healthy back and forth in the pre-production meeting. He was trying to say, because they said, "Oh boy, things are looking rough." He's like, "Oh no, the path's right there." And then Al Michaels apparently made a joke like, "Yeah, okay," and the rest of us are here in reality. He said on air, and I'm like, "Oh, okay, dick."
What do you think that path was? Because they were saying that actually we're playing some subpar teams coming up.
Yeah, I think he's right, because again, if you look at the rest of the stretch of the Jets, there is only one team that has a winning record currently, as it stands, that the Jets are set to face, and that is the Buffalo Bills, who they already competed incredibly well against and have competed well against the last couple of years. Everyone else is 500 or worse, according to all the numbers. So to me, the path is 1,000% there. It's not like the Jets have to play the whatever Chiefs. So let's use them as the example because they're last undefeated. They don't have to play the Chiefs every week. Now, it's not just the opponent. I think the greatest opponent for the Jets has been themselves the entire season. And if you look at all these games, I think that proves out to be true. So to me, it's even less about who they're facing. It's about themselves. Because if the Jets play up to Jets, and this is like the most cliche, put it on a pillow answer ever, but if the Jets play up to their own standard, it doesn't matter who they're playing against. They can beat anybody. But we just need to see the consistency, and let's see if they can put it together in back-to-back weeks.
Yeah, we got lucky as far as because they started running that ball in the second half up the middle again.
Yeah.
Said, here we go. They would check, what was the running back's name again?
Joe Mixon. Yeah.
Yeah, he looked pretty good. He was running up the middle, gashing us. I go, here we go again. But then Ulbrich, he made some kind of a change. He started doing some blitzing up the middle or something,
Yep. Yep.
and started changing it. So I hope we get more aggressive as far as that's concerned. And maybe this is the first. Let's get the next one.
There we go. Let's start a run. Hep, appreciate you, buddy. Thank you so much. A couple of shout outs here. Member shout out from Hennessy Heisman saying, let's trade him because we're great at drafting. That's been sort of spotty, but. Wow. Zoinks! Anywho, we got a gifted membership here. Let me get to that from Jared B. here on the show. Appreciate all the gifted memberships to the Boy Green Coffee Club. Thank you very much. Grand Pacey, you are now a member of the Boy Green Coffee Club. We're now 35 members away from Phil getting his emoji and Alan shortly behind him. Wouldn't that be wonderful? So shout out to Phil for that. Speaking of Alan, let's bring him on the show. Alan joins us here on the program. All right, Alan, you ready for the Super Bowl parade, baby?
Oh, love the eye roll during that conversation. That was pretty funny. I like that. 30 minutes of good football has me questioning what happens next. I'm not even thinking about Arizona. I'm actually thinking about Tuesday night and the deadline. To me, as I mentioned in my my tweet or whatever it's called, the DJ Reed situation is one that really has me scratching my head, because the idea of losing DJ Reed for nothing really bothers me, because he's a solid player. I think he's at the bottom end of a top 10 cornerback in the league, maybe
probably
between 8 and 12. I'll say that.
Yeah.
And to lose a guy like that for nothing, really.
Comp pick?
Well, it's again, if a team calls you for a 2, you have to answer the phone.
For sure, you got to consider it. Yeah.
But I agree with you. I don't think 9 gets us in. I think the Jets have to go 7-1 to get in. 100%. I think the Jets have to get 10. I think they lose most tiebreakers. The losses to Denver and Pittsburgh really kill us. Brutal. I also worry that this owner, again, who will be an absent owner, hopefully starting Tuesday night, I think he gives this GM another pass. I really do.
Wow.
Really? I'm starting to think if this team finishes 8 and 9, I think this GM gets an extension. It's crazy to think so, because I don't think he should. But
right.
I'm starting to think
30 and 62 now? Yeah, I don't know.
30 and 62. So let's say they go.
What's that? So what are they at now? So they're at 3.
Can't even add today.
So that's like 5. So like 35 and 65? Oh, God.
35 and 65. I think he gets an extension.
Come on, man.
Which would be bananas to me. Okay. Yeah. 2 more comments on the Sauce situation.
Lively.
I definitely gauge the situation. I'm not saying I trade him by Tuesday, but what FL Phil doesn't realize is he says, "Oh, we don't have to talk about this for another 2 years." This is a now game. As you mentioned, in a couple of months, those negotiations will start. And you know what's going to happen. If the Jets don't pony up, there will be a very pissed off little Saucy. And Sauce is not going to be like, I'll play on this contract. No chance. If there is not a long-term deal offered to Sauce this offseason, it will get ugly. So honestly, if I was them, I would really look at situations. If a team who is in dire need of a cornerback, maybe send him back to Cincinnati. Maybe they need another one to play with Cam Taylor-Britt. You never know. But I would actually explore that opportunity to trade him. Again, what worries me the most is I look at him and I see a guy that I am very worried about giving him a second contract. I don't like
you're talking about?
Yeah, I'm very worried about it. I just don't know how he plays on a second contract. He seems, and there are times he seems disinterested out there. He seems like he's out of positions. Like yesterday, that pass to the right side to, I think it was young, not young, Robert Woods.
The old ass guy. Oh my god, that guy. When he
God.
juked him out of his socks, I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And even still, even on the juke out of his socks, they just barely got the pass in because of the great pass rush. Shout out to the Jets for that. But unbelievable, yeah. Sauce getting juked out by old man Robert Woods, who's only in there because of all the injuries. I didn't even know that guy was still alive, to be honest. For God's sakes, come on, man.
But what worries me going forward is 187 yards rushing for Houston.
Ooh, yeah,
I mean, that's just not sustainable if they expect to make a run. And I was kind of surprised Houston went away from Mixon a little bit too early.
Yeah, of course.
I was shocked.
The game was always in the balance. It wasn't like the Jets were ever up 40-0, obviously. So yeah, how did you not just pound the Brutus beefcake? But sometimes teams outthink themselves, I guess. I don't know. Like I don't know how else to explain that. Yeah.
I was shocked. And again, the worst thing about the Jets over the past years and even this year, on a long layoff, this team usually shits the bed. And when they go to Arizona on a 9-day layoff and face the law firm of Murray, McBride, and Harrison, you need 30 to win that game because I don't think they'll stop that team. That team will score points. They might give up 30, but that team's going to score points. Connor in the backfield, you got some weapons on the outside, and you got an elusive Kyler Murray. It's a tough matchup. But again, I'm looking at Tuesday, and I'm like, if a team calls for DJ Reed and they say, you know what, here's a second, do you think about it? And I say yes. I don't want to lose a player for a second straight year for nothing. They lost a 10.5 sack guy last year and got nothing in return. I don't want to lose a top 15 cornerback and get nothing in return. So that's what I'm thinking. Again, I'm a glass half empty guy, as you know, but again, it's a solid 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And if I was Malachi Corley, I would expect a lot of wind sprints and a lot of trips to Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts because he will be the gopher boy for the next couple of weeks after what happened yesterday. Okay?
It seems that way. I appreciate it, Alan. Thanks for the call, brother. Yeah, wow. There's a lot to get to there, but I'm going to try to get to as many calls as possible because I got to run to the radio station soon. So let me get to as many people as possible here. Let's go to Phil. Phil, what's up, man?
Hey, what's up, Paul? So I don't know if you see me in the chat. I'm just going off here. I can't take it. The whole Garrett Wilson. Listen, first off, all right. So according to whatever we just heard from Ted, Devontae Adams should be traded. He dropped the ball 3 times yesterday, so he's done. Even after his touchdown, get rid of him. Let's pack it. So my problem is everyone's so concerned about whatever. They won. It's now we're still in a win now situation.
Yes,
we need a beefcake boy up front.
No
I
doubt.
don't know what's out there. Go get it. Just
we got to look.
Go get one.
Mm-hmm.
And if Fatu hurt, that's our beefcake position.
Oh
but
my
he's
God!
not
IR again. The second time he's been on IR. It's only week 9, man.
Yeah. So if I just run through Sport Track, what I'm more worried about is all of our expiring contracts. Reed, I think, would stay if Aaron's here, Adams is here. If we're going for another run next year, why would they can just sign him to a 2-year, a 1-year, where he's just like, I want to win 2, and then I'll pack it because I still got it. It's not like you don't have the skill level.
Right.
But you're more worried about Elijah Vera Tucker. Where's that conversation? He's injured again. We can't extend him. That's where people should be worried about.
Well, the shitty part about that, real quick, is they exercise his 5th-year option, so it's fully guaranteed for next year. So you owe him that money next year, and obviously whatever
That's
this
what
year.
I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm worried about after that. Yeah, with him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he might be a trade candidate next year. Because if he's always injured, get rid of him, acquire a third, and whatever you do from that point, if that's okay. But, I mean, after you look down, Solomon Thomas, I'm not bringing him back. Javon Kinlaw, a miracle. He did a couple of stops yesterday, but you're not bringing him back. Like, we have holes to be worried about next year if they come back. You know what I mean? With and they run it back. That's the problem, I think. And I need to get sniffed out.
Like the cornerback room. Here's one people don't think about. Brandon Eccles is a free agent. DJ Reed is a free agent. So you got Sauce and Michael Carter. You got that. Is Quantez Stiggers ready? He was just a healthy scratch yesterday. So I'm kind of curious who's going to be the guy. Maybe it is that guy. Or is it somebody else? Is it back to the draft? There's a lot of questions.
Gibby, Yeah, give me don't give me none of this miracle trade options like armchair. I love doing armchair GM when I'm playing Madden. Don't get me wrong,
Sure.
I love it.
It's a lot
It
of
is fun as
yeah.
hell. It is fun, but Ted, please chill out. That's ridiculous. Phil, great points. If you do get a crazy call, yeah, sure. Who doesn't? No GM is like, I know you're going to offer me that, so I'm just waiting. You're not getting
right.
that offer. It's never going to happen.
So
I
love it.
And it's like, and real quick, last thing I'll say, it's like what they're thinking is like, what Ted's thinking is like, this is real car dealership stuff. As soon as you make a pick, there's a depreciation to the value of the pick. Mm-hmm. The Sauce is not worth a one. He's not worth. He'll be worth whatever he'd be worth at the moment the way he's playing. That's it. It's how it's like car dealerships. Roll it out brand new. That's it. It already lost 10,000 markup immediately. The pick is changed. Like, stop, calm down, let it play out. Another W, breaking it up. Let's get it going.
Booyah. Love it, Phil. Thanks for the call, man. Yeah, I'll just say real quick. If Sauce says, hey, guys, we're making up this scenario, and then we'll get back to the phone lines. If Sauce says, hey, I want to be the highest paid quarter of this offseason, so I'm like, well, we're not really there, Sauce. And you try to negotiate. If you're not able to get there, you're like, well, Sauce, let me give you a heads up. You're still under contract for at least 2 years with us. So, we're going to exercise your 5th-year option. We have you for 2 more years. You want to hold out? Look what happened to Hassan Reddick. Oh, you don't want to hold out? Oh, okay, cool. All right. You're going to be showing up. So we're not at the point yet where Sauce is like an unrestricted free agent in the final year of his deal. Even if he says, I want this or I want that, he's going to be forced to play because with how the CBA is set, players on rookie contracts and just players under contract that hold out and like withdraw from the team. We saw what happened to Hassan Reddick. You get penalized to no end of what happens there. So just keep that in mind. So again, they can start to negotiate here in a couple of months. The Jets don't have to pay anyone early if they don't want to. Breece Hall is the one that comes up first because he's a non-first round pick, so he only has 1 more year left on his deal after this year coming up. All right, back to the phone lines. You got Ryan King joining us here on the show. What's up, Ryan?
Hey, buddy. How you doing?
Man, crazy.
So, yesterday or last night, the first quarter or first half, really, I was laughing my butt off. I was like, typical Jet stuff. I saw him drop that ball before he crossed the goal line. Everyone was cheering. I was like, that's not a touchdown. I knew it. I called it. And then sitting there with my stepdaughter on the couch when Houston went for the 3 points, and they got it, but there was a penalty before he kicked it. I was like, he's going to doink it. And he actually got it. But then they drove down the field a little bit further, went for it, the field goal, and he doinked it. And I was like, I called it. I friggin' called it. It was like, but listen, the one thing that I'm not going to get too high on this.
Okay.
I enjoyed last night's game. But I'm still skeptical and I'm still scared because of the fact that the Jets can't stop the run. And if Houston decided to commit to the run and the screens, they probably would have beat us. I mean, if you think about it, when they were running up the middle, they were getting it. And then when we stopped it, they'd run it around the outside and they would get it. And when that didn't work, they would hit a screen and they'd get it. And it's like, we just can't stop it, and I don't know what the resolution is besides getting a big beefy boy like Clowney or someone like that. But my question is, would you give up a first round pick to get Jason Garrett in here?
Jason Garrett? You mean Myles Garrett? You're talking about?
Sorry, Myles Garrett.
Jason Garrett. Now, I wouldn't give up my left shoe for Jason Garrett. No, I'm just kidding.
No, Myles Garrett.
Myles Garrett. I'd give up a first-round pick. I'd give up my first-round pick and my first child for Myles Garrett. Absolutely. That guy's a stud.
And that's what I was, that's what I've been thinking is that we need to make that move before the 5th. That's kind of what I've been paying attention. Listen, our offense showed us last night what it is capable of. Okay. Even in the Pats game, it showed us what we're capable of. But I feel, and I don't know if you feel the same way, but I feel like with the Pats game, it was more about me as an individual standpoint on the team than it was about the team. And last night, it was more about the team. if you saw when Quinnen Williams had gotten the sack, one of
Yeah.
the sacks, he got up and he started dancing. All the Jets defensive linemen, including Hassan Reddick, started doing the dance. And I was like,
much
that's
better.
something we missed. I saw Breece Hall when he got tackled out of bounds. Tyron Smith came over and picked him up. And that's things that we have missed in the past.
Yeah.
Is that camaraderie and that. So, I mean, it's never too late to turn it over and to change things. But it's like, at the same time, the biggest weakness on this team is stopping the run, whether it's a quarterback scramble, the outside runs, the inside runs. Teams are going to kill us, and we need to understand that and trust our corners. The last thing I want to say, the other thing that scares the hell out of me is our offensive line right now. We had 4 tackles on our offensive line last night.
We did.
And I mean, what are we going to do? You know, I know that we have a long period before our next game, but it's like
10 days. Yeah.
What are we going to do going forward? And actually, those 4 being out there, those 4 tackles being out there, did almost a better job than our original offensive line. So it's
Go
like,
figure. Yeah.
do we act? Because if I was thinking about the makeup of an offensive guard versus an offensive tackle, offensive tackles are bigger and they're stronger. And I was like, so that kind of makes sense. I know that, you know, Olu has never played guard.
He has never played guard.
Practice,
that's correct. Yeah, right.
But he was really mauling people last night. And it was like, it was surprising. And I'm like, this could work, even if it's just for this year.
Right. Sure. Right. This doesn't mean just because he played right guard once does not mean he's indicted, convicted, whatever the word is, to play that for the rest of his life. But in the meantime, to help us now, sure. Yeah.
I mean, would you run it back next week the same? Even if our guards are better, would you run it back with maybe Simpson at left guard and Fashanu at right guard?
I'd love to see AVT health. The Jets did not put him on IR, which must indicate to me, we'll see if that's really true, that he's getting healthy. John Simpson has been great as a guard this year. His pass protection numbers are awesome. So as soon as he's healthy, plug and play him at left guard. But man, to have Fashanu, our first round pick, showing some chutzpah outside of getting caught out of position a few times, which is totally understandable for him playing guard for the first time ever. Yeah, I'd be really intrigued to keep Olu Fashanu at guard if that's something he is open to. It sounds like he is.
Okay, yeah. I appreciate it, bud. And let's hope for the best and go Jets. And as I said, let's never get too high and too low. I'm trying to not get too low, but this team is really testing my patience.
Yeah, aren't they all for all of us? Ryan, appreciate it, brother. We have a new member, Philly Noodle 631. You remember the Boy Green Coffee Club? All right, we are 34 members away from our emoji for Phil. Now, I'm going to throw both of these guys on the show, but I have to leave, so I'm sorry to all the other people that are waiting that I can't get to, and I apologize. But these 2 guys are going to bring on the show real quick as Johnny Boy and Tio, because I'll be on later at the 411. I'll also be on Jake Asman's show later, so guys, make sure you guys pay attention to that. I think that should be 4 o'clock. I'll wait to hear back from Jake on official timing. But the 411, boys, go ahead. Give us a nice, juicy plug here with 600 people watching live.
Let's go. The 411 on New York Sports. This Friday, 6 p.m., we have none other than Paul Boy Green Esden Jr.
There we go. And this Friday, by the way, is today, as a matter of fact.
Today.
So today. Yes.
Absolutely. But let me just say this.
Yes, please do.
Indulge me here.
Okay. There you go. Bust a move.
Oh, man.
My God. It just feels good to win. We've had so much losing. The entire month of October has been losing up until last night at the Cinderella midnight. It just feels good to win and the vibes to be back and all that stuff. I agree with what Ryan was saying, that we were getting all these people like Devontae Adams made a big play. Garrett Wilson coming over, dapping him up. I'm like, okay, there we go. There was some juice, and that was good to see.
Stock up Cayenne Pepper.
Yes.
Stock up Jumpman logos.
Okay. You love to see it. You love to see it, boys.
Just when I thought I was out, they pull me back in. Nephew, you take it away.
Yeah. BG, look, BG, if you would have heard the conversation from me and Unc last night,
yeah,
you thought we had freaking like bipolar disease, bro, because it went from us cursing out this team to the doink woke us up because it was snooze fest. The tale of two halves.
Yeah, definitely.
Right? That flipped around all over again in regards. Last week, it was the other way around, right? The offense was great during the first half, and then they crapped the bed on the second half. This time it flipped around. Look, I'm happy right now with the W, but I'm still not like, oh yeah, like I can't, man. I
Take
just
it back, baby. We back.
nah.
That's
We're
okay.
not,
You're not a believer, Johnny. It's okay. You're not a believer. That's fine.
I'm
It's
just
okay.
being honest, man. Look, and I'm not gonna front the Hassan Reddick signing and him being on the team and showing on the edge like that. Quinnen is loving it, bro, because Quinnen has been very disruptive, and so has Hassan. It might not be showing on the papers, but it's the stuff that I was talking in regards of us missing JFM, where JFM would do all the dirty work and stuff like that, and would leave it open for Quinnen, and we're seeing that again, man. So I mean, we won. I'm happy. I'm gonna enjoy this dub and everything. I had us getting the green and white beaten off of us.
Yeah.
They
That's
proved me.
okay because you're not a believer, bathrobe boy. You're not a believer, but that's okay. That's okay. Why don't you do this before the 411 later? Make sure you get a shower in, maybe a nice bath, get a nice soak in. Okay.
My abusive cheating girlfriend. She
Wow.
came back last night, right?
Mhm.
And we
Yeah.
had a fight when she came back, right? But guess what? Congratulate me on the sex because we won, baby.
Yeah,
we
she
won. We're
She put
back.
that kitty back on him, and he was a goner right after that. He's like, "It's okay, baby,
So
you
there
good."
you go.
It's still
tonight.
Jets.
Love
Dude,
it.
it's gonna be crazy tonight. Everybody
I can't wait.
So
Plug it one more time. So I'm about to run to the radio station, but plug it one more time real quick. So to 411, where's it at? Where can people watch it? I'm going to be joining their show tonight. Uncle Tio, Johnny Boy, give us one last plug.
Give it to your nephew. Go ahead.
The 411 on New York Sports tonight at 6 p.m. We have the one and only, the great BG. And for everybody who need in Spanish, hoy, anoche, the 411 on New York Sports on el YouTube. Ya saben.
Yes. Beautiful. Boys, thank you so much, and we'll see you again soon.
Everybody have an awesome, victorious day today. Let's go, Jets.
Don't
JETS.
trade everybody. Loved our guys.
Don't trade everybody. Good advice. There you go from Johnny and Uncle Tio. We appreciate it. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. I got to run to the radio station before I'm late and, get in trouble. So God bless everybody. Go Jets, 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 Jets.